Good day, folks. Welcome to the MB Wildman channel. On today's video, Elliot and I are here.
Hello.
And today we are talking about bait, and we're talking about a do-it-yourself bait that is specifically for, we make it specifically for coon cuffs, for raccoon traps. Now, this bait will work. Don't get me wrong, this bait will work. You can put it underneath your live traps. You can put it in the back of your pail sets. You can put it wherever you want, and you'll still catch raccoons. But we make it up specifically for this. Now, there are all kinds of people out there already on YouTube that will tell you that you can make your own bait for dog proofs. Well, you can make your own bait for anything. It's just a matter of figuring out what's cheapest, what works best for you in your area. I'm a big fan of cheap. I'm a big fan of not spending a lot of money on bait that I don't need to. So this is one that Elliot and I came up with not too long ago. And one of the common things that you're going to hear almost everybody that talks about dog-proof bait, they tell you, go get dog food, the cheapest you can get. Go get cat food. Go get catfish food, floating catfish food. That's the latest one that I saw the other day. And I'm not saying that those things don't work. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter which one you get. What you have to do if you're going to make your own bait for dog proofs and for raccoon trapping is you just have to make sure that you get your ingredients right. And then it just becomes a matter of finding them cheap and then mixing them up in whatever ratio that you want. Listen, if you haven't yet subscribed to the MB Wildman channel, we sure would appreciate it. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you like the content that Elliot and I put out, go ahead and hit that bell and you'll get notified when we upload new stuff. Okay, so here we go. Specifically designed for dog proof. Before we get right into the ingredients that you need, I'm going to preface a couple of things. So Elliot and I carry our dog-proof bait around in an old peanut butter jar. So this is what we do. We wash it. We keep, these are like gold on our trap line. We keep all of these in our household. And every time we empty out a peanut butter jar, we keep it. Okay, so we would basically take this, thrown in our pack, filled with our dog-proof bait. So today we're just going to make up enough to fill one of these to kind of show you. But we would typically, Elliot and I would mix this up in like a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, it'd be like bigger than that.
Yeah, and then we'd fill 3 or 4 of these, and this would do us, for a month or however long on our season. We've decided we're going to take some raccoons this year. The local farmer's having a little bit of an issue, and there's actually some coming up and down the brook by the house, so we're going to take some raccoons. There are also different versions of this bait that you will see people that you talk about. And the first, you'll hear a lot of people talk about taking your dog food or your cat food or whatever and mixing it with bacon grease or some type of grease or some type of wet mixture. This is not that version, okay? So in my world, in our world, we have a wet version of this and a dry version of this, and it depends on where we're trapping and the way that we're going to trap, what we're going to use. But today we're talking specifically about the dry version, okay? And one of the reasons that I like the dry version is it costs less money, first of all, to make it, and it doesn't clump together. It isn't messy. You can, you can literally open this up. Elliot can reach in, scoop it out with his hand, and put it in the dog proof. Bait it up just by hand, and there's no mess. There's no junk. Whereas if you've got it soaked in bacon grease, you've always got to deal with that greasy substance, and it sometimes can stick to the trap and whatever. Anyway, let's get to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're going to need is the cheapest kind of dog food or cat food or fish food or whatever that you can buy. That doesn't make any difference what it is. What you have to realize is that the main ingredients in almost all of this stuff is processed corn or grain byproduct, which is code for corn.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you read the ingredients of this dog food, the very first thing is corn, and then wheat, and then meat wheel. All right, same thing for this one. You read the ingredients of this cat food. First ingredients is corn, and then grain byproducts. When you read the catfish bag, it's all made of corn. One of the things you want to be careful of, don't buy like a 50-pound bag of dog food for a great big dog, because you're going to get little bits that are too big to fit in the dog proof. This little bag of $3, it was no name brand for dogs, 2 kilograms. It was like $3, and the pellets are all like real small. Okay, so they're easy little pellets to fit into a dog proof. And the cat food, you want to show them that, bud?
It's like the same thing. It's just for cats, so it's in like little.
Right, so it's just little bits of cat food. So, and again, it doesn't matter whether you use the cat food or the dog food. It's just a matter that you want them made out of corn, okay? Yeah. So the first thing that we're going to do, Elliot, we're going to scoop up one of these. right?
I mix like a measuring cup.
Yeah, it's just a cup. It doesn't matter. There's no exact ratio. So grab a cup of the cat food and a cup of the dog food and pop it in our bowl. Nice. One of cat food, and we'll just do one of dog food. Again, it doesn't matter. The smell, whoa. We're gonna put the scent that we want on it. Some of the cat food is like flavored, like fish flavor and whatever else, but that's not gonna make much difference for what we want. So we got our base of our bait is always the dog food or the cat food or the fish food or whatever. It's always that corn base that we're gonna use. The next thing we wanna add in here is we wanna add something sweet. Now, I've seen people use M&Ms, I've seen people use Skittles, I've seen people use whatever. From me to you, Elliot to you, the advice is whatever you can find that is sugar-based and is cheap. Yeah. And again, we're talking about cheap bait here, right? Cheap food. That cat food was $3. The dog food was $3, and that's going to make us like what, 10 pounds of bait in the end. It's a lot. So what we did at the dollar store is we found these cake decorations. This was $1.
It's like sprinkles.
Yeah, it's like sprinkles for like cake stuff, and there's 2 or 3 different. I'll show you. There's 2 or 3 different sizes, right? So you got like regular little sprinkles, and then you got little dots and hearts and little round circles and all of that stuff. And that container says $1.75, but it was actually on the dollar rack. So that container cost $1, right? And then Elliot.
And then we also got Nerds for like another sweet thing to use. Because it's like you said, it's like anything that's sugar that's cheap, and this was the cheapest thing. So. Right,
so this was cheap. Again, this was $1 for this package. And the Nerds, if you don't know what Nerds are, they're just little shaped, colored, flavored bits of basically sugar is all it is. And what you're gonna do, if you can take a look, obviously, so it's just like this, and all you're gonna do is add some color. First of all, you wanna add some color to your bait, and you're gonna add some sugar to your bait. So the ratio is not important. I wouldn't go 1-to-1 with the sugar and the base. I would try to go like maybe just 2-to-1. I just wouldn't spend a lot of money. You just wanna add some sugar product to your mixture. Okay, now if you don't want to go out and buy like, go ahead, get it? If you don't want to go out and buy like those sugar-based, Nerds or the sweets or whatever, I like them because they're small and they're hard and they're chunky, and again, they'll go in the dog proof, no problem. You can, instead of that, if you want to, you can add brown sugar, right? So I bought this package of brown sugar at the dollar store as well, cost $1 for this size. You can add brown sugar. The only thing I don't like about adding straight sugar like that or regular white sugar, if you have it, is it does, if it gets moist, then it will get sticky and kind of gross to handle sometimes. But these, now you can take this like this and you can just pick it up. There's no stick to it. All of those little bits of, that candy stuff that's in there, it's all nice and loose and it's dry and it doesn't stick to your hands, and that's all good. Okay. Next thing that we're going to add is salt. So
sea salt.
Sea salt. Again, pick this up at the dollar store. You'll never guess what it cost.
$2.
$1. Oh. Right? So again, we got this whole big box of salt for $1 at the dollar store. We're not going to have a whole lot of money tied up in making our bait. And we want to add salt. We want to add salt. And the reason we add salt isn't for flavor and it isn't to do anything. It will help this bait not to freeze. So here in New Brunswick, a lot of the time when we're out on the line, we're talking about below 0 temperatures. We're talking about freezing temperatures. And sometimes you can get this a little, you get it down by a brook, you get it somewhere, it gets moist, gets a little bit wet, and it'll freeze. You can add in salt and just mix it around. It'll stay dry, right? And that will help your bait not to freeze in the end, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to add a pretty significant amount because it doesn't dissuade the raccoons in any way. So we're going to take Elliot's original, measuring cup here. We're going to add about 1/4 of that. We're gonna have about 1/4 of that of just regular table salt.
It's like 100 mils of.
You got it. There you go. So it's like 100 mils if you're measuring. Okay, good. So we're gonna add that in, and then before you stir it, we're gonna add our one of our main ingredients, one of our main flavors. So this would work by itself, just so you know. If you took this bait out, mixed it up good, and put it in dog proof traps, this would has enough flavor right there with the dog food and the cat food. It has enough flavor with the candy and all that stuff. It has enough flavor like it is right now to attract raccoons. However, sometimes you want a long distance scent. So you want a smell that's going to be smelt from a long ways away, and draw raccoons into your ear. I got salt all over my table. That scent, the one that we found works the best for the dry ingredient, is simply ground cinnamon. Okay? So again, dollar store, $1. This entire container of ground cinnamon. We won't use the whole container for a batch this small, but if we were doing a batch that was like 5-gallon bucket batch, we would dump this whole thing in. Okay? As it is, what we're going to do is we're just going to basically fill the cap of this with the ground cinnamon, because it is pretty smelly and it does mix in really well. So basically fill the cap and dump that in like that. Woo! Smelly, eh?
Yeah.
And then mix it up. Okay? So those are the ingredients that you need, and as soon as you add that cinnamon to the mix, you're gonna think that you're in Santa Claus's like workshop with the elves and they're cooking Christmas stuff and it's like snickerdoodle heaven. But that cinnamon attaches to the outside of your bait. It gets mixed all around everything. And as soon as you put that into your dog proofs, that smell, that cinnamony smell, that'll bring raccoon for miles, okay? So what we've got in the end, you got it all mixed up, buddy? Mm-hmm. Good. So what we've got in the end, at the end of this deal, we've got all those things that we just showed you. And this is a nice dry mixture that you can use. It's small, it's easy, it goes right into the dog proofs, and there's what you're looking at. Okay, so it's got candy in there, it's got the corn-based meal, it's got everything we just talked about. I got it all over the counter. And then all we do is we fill this. We fill this part to make it easy to transport so that we don't, I don't think it'll pour. You want to just scoop some in? Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll try not to get it all over. Good. All right, that might be easier if you hold or I hold.
Yeah, I think it's
okay, so basically we're just gonna good.
there.
Just like that. All right, so you can give it another little shake up. You'll find that some of the smaller particles do tend to settle to the bottom of the jug. Not a big deal. Anyway, there you go. So this is a great bait, and that peanut butter container right there, you just need, a tablespoon will bait that raccoon trap. This will bait 20 traps, out on the line. So anyway, listen, I hope this is something that can help you out, and just a quick do-it-yourself recipe for your own raccoon bait. We can make 10 pounds of that for probably $1 a pound, maybe even less, depending on how cheaply we can get our dog food and whatnot. So anyway, again, from Elliot and I hope this is something that can help you out in your line. And until next time, happy hunting from the MB Wildman channel.